Welcome back to the Deep Dive. I'm Lex.
And I'm Vera. It's great to be connecting again with all our C9 followers, both here and on the business page.
Absolutely. And we know who you are, Australia's business owners, C-level executives. You're facing, well, a pretty tough environment right now.
Yeah, relentless is probably the word. The pressure's always on.
Always. Boost efficiency, slash costs, drive up revenue. It's the constant battle, isn't it? And technology, your tech stack, that's really the strategic battlefield.
Spot on. But choosing the right tech path, that feels like a huge gamble sometimes. High stakes.
Definitely high stakes. So our mission today really is to cut through some of that noise. We're diving into a critical choice facing you right now.
That's right. It's that decision between, say, the fast appeal of low-code platform
Quick results.
versus the, let's call it, strategic power you get from fully custom web application development.
Yeah, the sources frame this really clearly. It's not just about tech. It's a strategic clash. Immediate speed versus, long-term scalability and that crucial competitive edge.
Exactly. That edge that really defines market leaders.
Okay, so let's maybe start by unpacking the promises and maybe the perils of that faster option first, the low-code route.
Okay, let's look at the lure of low code because it is attractive. I mean, the idea of rapid deployment, low initial cost, it's powerful.
Sure, if you need something simple, maybe a quick proof of concept.
Exactly. For that, it can deliver results fast. No argument there.
But, and there's always a but, isn't there? For the really mission-critical stuff, the application's running your unique business logic, handling sensitive customer data, managing those deep proprietary workflows.
Well, that speed often turns out to be a false economy.
Right. So where does it typically fall down for an executive relying on it? What's the failure point?
It really boils down to customization. Or the lack of it. Low-code platforms, they fundamentally rely on predefined components, templates.
Okay, building blocks.
Exactly, building blocks.
Yeah.
So the moment your unique Australian business process needs something a bit more nuanced, maybe a specific data integration, a particular security protocol you need.
Something outside the box.
Precisely. You hit what the sources call a hard wall. The platform just wasn't built for that kind of flexibility. It won't bend.
And when you hit that wall, what happens next? What's the expensive reaction?
Well, you're forced into workarounds, right? Often costly, complex workarounds. You might use bolt-ons, custom scripts that kind of sit outside the platform's main architecture.
Which sounds like it defeats the whole purpose.
It totally does. It destroys those initial time savings, ramps up the complexity. It just undermines why you chose low code in the first place.
And this leads us to something even riskier, doesn't it? This idea of IP quicksand.
Yes, intellectual property quicksand, that's a good term for it. Your business logic, your workflows, your critical data, it all gets tied directly into the platform provider's specific architecture, their licensing model.
Creating a massive dependency.
Huge. Think about it. If that vendor suddenly decides to change their pricing model, or maybe they sunset a feature you rely on, or even drop support levels, your entire operation could be held hostage.
You lose strategic control. Completely.
Completely. Give us a practical example. What does that look like for, say, an Australian business that finds itself stuck?
Okay, picture this. The vendor announces a 50% price hike for next year's license. You can't just lift and shift your application easily. It's deeply embedded. So you're pretty much forced to pay.
Or face a massive unplanned migration project.
Exactly. Or maybe you want to integrate with a new cutting-edge AI service that could give you a competitive advantage. But if the low-code vendor doesn't offer a pre-built connector for it,
then you're stuck. You're technologically crippled until they decide to build it, if they ever do. Or you face that expensive, probably multi-year custom rebuild anyway. You've effectively outsourced your entire technology roadmap.
wow, that paints a pretty grim picture. Strategic stagnation, basically.
It can be, yeah. And speaking of risks, the sources bring up these two new, frankly terrifying terms executives need to watch out for when they're hiring development talent. The AI Cowboy and vibes coding.
Okay, I'm intrigued. AI Cowboy.
This is where the cheap and fast market gets really dangerous. We're talking about, maybe cheap freelancers or certain agencies using these generative AI app builders, automated tools.
Stuff that assembles code super fast.
Incredibly fast. But often without a deep understanding of the underlying architecture, the security implications, the long-term maintenance needs.
Okay, so that's the Cowboy. What do they deliver? Vibes coding.
Yeah, vibes coding. It sounds almost funny, but it's serious. It means prioritizing how things look on the surface level functionality. It's based on a feeling, oh, that looks about right, or it seems fast enough on the demo.
But it ignores the foundation.
Completely ignores rigorous architecture, proper security standards, solid data modeling, and crucially, any thought for long-term maintenance. It's described as a highly risky gray area approach.
So prioritizing the flashy demo over a solid build.
Yeah.
If you're a C-level exec, why should vibes coding scare you?
Because it kicks the can down the road. It creates this massive, hidden operational risk that usually explodes 6, maybe 12 months later.
When things start to break.
Exactly. When a bug inevitably appears, or maybe a regulation changes and you need to adapt, or you simply need to scale the application because your business grew, that code base is often incredibly fragile.
Because it wasn't built properly in the first place.
Right. It likely lacks decent documentation, rigorous testing, any kind of sensible structure. And often the AI cowboys who built it quickly, they might not even be around or capable of fixing it sustainably.
Which leads to the ultimate nightmare scenario, the black box.
Precisely. These low-cost, high-speed developers deliver a package, but they often don't provide any real domain knowledge transfer, no architectural understanding. You, the client, are left holding this fragile black box.
Meaning you have zero internal expertise, maybe minimal documentation.
And no way to effectively maintain or evolve it. It basically guarantees high rework costs down the line, constant dependency on expensive emergency fixes, and ultimately it's a project failure in everything but name.
That's a stark contrast to a quality-focused model like C9's approach, where the whole point is that full knowledge transfer, empowering your internal team, protecting the investment.
Absolutely, protecting you from ever becoming dependent on a single vendor or a fragile solution.
Okay, so if low-code is potentially a strategic speed trap, how does an executive do the proper homework? How do you choose that strategic custom path successfully without falling into these traps?
Well, that brings us squarely to due diligence, and the sources are incredibly strong on this point.
What's the single biggest mistake an executive can make when kicking off a custom software project, especially if they're struggling with, say, creaking legacy systems?
Skipping the discovery call. Hands down, the consensus is clear. It's not optional. It's mandatory due diligence.
It's not a nice-to-have or a waste of time.
No, it's the primary de-risking mechanism for any significant software investment. Thinking you can save time by skipping it. That's probably the fastest way to guarantee a project goes off the rails.
Okay, so let's break that down. What should a proper, structured discovery phase actually deliver? It's got to be more than just a list of features, right?
Oh, absolutely. Way more. A quality discovery phase, like the one C9 runs, delivers 3 essential strategic outcomes. First, problem and goal validation. Meaning we don't just accept the initial trigger like, oh, our database is slow. We dig deeper. We work with you to confirm the precise, measurable business value you're aiming for.
So turning the technical pain into a business metric.
Exactly. The goal shifts from fix the slow database to something like, we need to reduce customer onboarding time by 50% to increase our quarterly subscription intake by X amount. That defines clear ROI right from day one.
Okay, that makes sense. It anchors everything in business value. What's the second critical outcome?
Second is detailed requirements gathering. Our analysts work really closely with your stakeholders. We define the scope, yes, but also think about scalability integration points. And really importantly for our Australian audience, ensuring compliance with Australian regulations.
Let's pause there. Compliance is huge, non-negotiable for C-levels here. What kind of scrutiny are we talking about regarding local regulations during discovery?
We have to ensure full compliance. That could be anything from data sovereignty laws, like where is customer data stored and processed, is it onshore, right through to the specific financial compliance rules from bodies like ASIC or APRA, depending on your industry.
And if you miss that in discovery?
You risk building a non-compliant asset. And the cost to fix that after it's built, it's exponential compared to getting it right up front. Discovery provides that regulatory certainty.
Got it. So validated goals, detailed requirements, including compliance. What's the third piece?
The third is mapping decision points and timelines. We translate those high-level goals and detailed requirements into concrete, often stageable features.
So a phased approach.
Often, yes. We provide a staged delivery plan. Crucially, this maps out the earliest points where you can expect to capture ROI. You'll know precisely which features, delivered in which phase, will generate that first 25% improvement in efficiency, for example, and roughly when.
That level of precision must be invaluable for planning and budgeting.
Absolutely. Skipping this guarantees scope creep, budget blowouts, endless stress. Discovery provides the financial and strategic certainty you need before committing significant capital.
Okay. So the custom path, guided by proper discovery, is the strategic path. But executives often worry, understandably, that custom means slow or impossibly expensive.
That's a common concern, yeah. Which leads us into Section 3 of our sources. How C9 approaches this, aiming to deliver that strategic power while managing cost and risks effectively.
And a key part of that is the blended hybrid offshore and inshore team structure.
Mm.
How does that actually work? How do you maintain that rigorous Australian governance and quality but still achieve cost efficiency?
It's about smart resource allocation. We start with inshore leadership. That means your core strategic team, the solution architects, the project managers, the senior consultants, they're based right here in Australia.
So they're the primary contact. They understand the local context.
Exactly. They handle the governance, ensure crystal clear communication, and critically, they have that deep ingrained understanding of the Australian market, the legal landscape, the regulatory environment. Trust and clear oversight are local.
Okay, so governance is local. Where does the value and velocity come from?
That comes from the offshore expertise. We provide direct access to high-caliber, C9 vetted, full-time technical talent located offshore. This gives us significant resource depth.
Which translates to cost savings and speed.
Precisely. Significant cost savings compared to sourcing solely from the, let's be honest, highly constrained and expensive local talent pool. Plus, the depth allows for greater development velocity. Essentially, our clients get world-class technical talent managed under strict Australian standards and governance.
Let's be really clear about the employment model, though, especially the staff augmentation strategy. The sources were quite specific about setting expectations here.
Yeah, that's important. We provide integrated agile teams. They plug directly into your existing capabilities if you have them. But clients need to understand, we utilize highly skilled remote workers. That includes both our inshore leadership and our offshore technical teams.
So it's a distributed team by design.
Correct. We do not operate an old-school, in-house, local hiring model where developers sit physically in your office 9 to 5. That's not our model. You should expect high-quality outcomes, seamless communication, and rigorous process.
But not necessarily a physical presence in the building.
Exactly. The value is delivered through the process, the communication, the talent itself, not through physical co-location.
Okay, good clarification. Now let's talk contracts, specifically the recommended minimum term. Why does C9 recommend a 3-6-month lock-in contract? Why not just go month to month for strategic work?
Look, strategy needs runway. A minimum 3-6-month lock-in is really essential because building that true partnership, achieving strategic goals, it takes a bit of time.
For integration?
Yes. Resources need that period, at least 90 to 180 days, to properly integrate with your business processes, build trust, understand your nuances, and, crucially, conduct that effective, thorough knowledge transfer we talked about earlier.
So month to month is too tactical.
Generally, yes. Monthly contracts are fine for maybe quick, tactical fixes or very short-term needs. But if you're aiming for measurable, strategic ROI, building a sustainable asset that your internal team can actually own and evolve, you need that 3 to 6 month time frame as a minimum for genuine integration and impact.
Makes sense. Strategic investment requires a bit more commitment for real partnership. But what about flexibility? Executives worry about locking in capital.
Absolutely. Flexibility is built in. While we recommend that initial term, the monthly packages can be scaled up or down with reasonable notice as your business needs change.
Okay.
And importantly, we designed the system so that any unused hours within a month aren't just lost. They can be rolled over or stockpiled.
Stockpiled.
For what? For future feature development, enhancements, maybe tackling something that came up unexpectedly. It ensures the budget you commit is maximized, it delivers value, and isn't wasted even if internal priorities shift slightly mid-month.
That's smart. And quickly on the rate structure, you mentioned avoiding a single inflated hourly rate.
Correct. We charge based on the specific skills needed for the task at hand. A principal architect who's bringing high-level strategic guidance and deep experience naturally has a different rate than, say, a senior developer who's focused on executing specific features.
So you pay for the expertise you actually need at that moment.
Exactly. This targeted rate structure provides significant savings compared to agencies that charge a single, blended, often inflated hourly rate for everyone. Especially when you factor in, the current FY25-26 context around CPI and potential discounts for longer-term commitments or using multiple resources.
Okay, now let's tackle the final Really critical area of risk management for executives. The danger of inaccurate pricing. You need certainty, but indicative pricing seems like a huge pitfall.
It truly is one of the biggest traps. A proposal based on indicative pricing, meaning it's written before any detailed discovery work has been done. It's often just a sales tactic,
Designed to look attractive.
designed to give an attractive, often lowball figure to get a foot in the door. It estimates complexity very crudely, maybe to the nearest day or sometimes even the nearest week. It offers zero precision.
And it's almost guaranteed to be wrong.
Structurally guaranteed, because the true scope, the real complexities, they're simply unknown at that stage.
Okay, so this is where C9 flips the script with precision pricing. How does that work?
Simple, really.
Right.
We only commit to a formal fixed price after the discovery phase is complete. Because we've done that mandatory due diligence, we understand the requirements in detail.
Down to the specifics?
We estimate the work required down to the nearest hour. This level of rigor, this detailed breakdown, it removes the need for that massive financial buffer, often 30, 40, even 50% that other agencies have to build into their initial indicative quotes just to cover all the unknowns and risks they haven't investigated yet.
Let's use that stark example from the sources to really hammer this home. It was about a complex custom API integration feature. Right?
That's the one. Under the indicative pricing model, estimated roughly, maybe to the nearest day, the agency suggested around 10 days of work. They offered a tempting quote, something like $25,000.
Sounds appealing up front.
Very. However, after a proper discovery phase, the rigorous precision pricing breakdown, calculated down to the hour, identified all the specific tasks involved, the actual work required, 138 hours.
How many days?
That's 17.25 full working days, significantly more than the initial 10-day guess.
Wow. That's a massive difference in effort. So what was the real fixed price based on that precision?
The real accurate price, based on the 138 hours, came in at $43,125.
So the initial quote was massively underestimated.
Yeah. It was 72.5% underestimated. That difference, that nearly $18,000 gap, it doesn't just disappear. It results in immediate high-stress change requests, project delays, budget fights. Exactly the kind of financial chaos and uncertainty executives are desperately trying to avoid. Precision pricing delivers budgetary control and predictability.
It removes that huge financial shock down the line.
Okay, and one final smart strategy mentioned for managing the capital commitment, particularly for larger projects: funding future features.
Yes. We often recommend breaking larger projects into distinct stages. You start with a minimum viable product, an MVP, get that core functionality out the door, then follow up with phase 2, phase 3, and so on.
Why phase it like that?
Because it allows for early deployment. You get the core value into the business sooner, which starts generating early ROI. You see the benefits faster.
And those benefits can then pay for the next phase. Exactly. The realized savings, the operational efficiencies gained from that first phase, they can be strategically reinvested back into the project's budget. It effectively allows the software's own success to help fund its future improvements, enhancements, and ongoing maintenance. It's a very sustainable model.
Okay, so let's try and wrap this up. What's the key takeaway for the Australian executive listening right now?
I think the choice between low code speed and custom power isn't just technical. It's fundamentally a choice between a potentially temporary, often fragile fix
And building a strategic, long-term asset.
Yeah.
An asset that delivers genuine, unmatched efficiency, better security, and ultimately a sustainable competitive advantage.
You really need to question whether settling for prepackaged solutions that inevitably lead to vendor lock-in is worth it, or worse, risking your core operations on the, frankly, hollow promises and architectural neglect of these AI cowboys offering cheap, fast solutions built on vibes.
Choose the rigor instead. The scalability, the financial certainty that comes from a bespoke solution developed in partnership.
Exactly. A solution built by a transparent, strategic partner committed to your long-term success.
Okay, our final provocative thought for you, the listener, to mull over. Think about the ultimate non-monetary cost. The cost of vendor lock-in, the cost of losing control over your own intellectual property, your own business logic.
That loss of strategic control, that inability to pivot your technology quickly when the market demands it, that cost will almost always eventually outweigh any initial, often illusory savings you might get from a quick fix platform.
So the most important next step isn't necessarily writing a check right now.
No, absolutely not. It's about securing a partnership that's built on clarity, on transparency, and on active risk mitigation from day one.
Which is why we strongly urge all Australian business owners and executives listening. Schedule your strategic discovery call today. It's the essential first step to de-risk your next critical software project and gain that crucial certainty.
This has been The Deep Dive. We are C9 Australia's leading custom software, apps, integration, and database developer company.
You can book that strategic call, learn more about our precision pricing, our blended team model, everything we've discussed right now at our website, www.c9.com.au.
That's www.c9.com.au.
And please don't forget to click that follow button wherever you're listening. And if you found this valuable, share this deep dive with any colleagues or peers who you think could benefit from this knowledge on managing technology risk and investment.
Until next time.